Welcome. We're going to go into Yashaya Speaks, another segment of Yashaya Speaks, and the process of purging, number 3. Okay, so first and foremost, I have to give all glory and praise to Ahayah, Ahayah, Bahasham Yashaya, Wakwadash Wak. Okay, so now I want to go and talk about purging. Now, this is my third video on it, and I want to get more in depth with purging. And, I kind of like avoid it. I avoid wanting to go into this stuff because people always take offense. It's not that, it's hard for people to receive, themselves changing, because most people think that they're fine the way they are. So it's really hard to kind of have these kind of conversations, videos, making these videos talking about people and what they should do. Because people, first of all, they come off like, oh, well, who does she think she is? You need to get yourself together. You need to do this and you need to do that, because they never really want to focus on them. And then it's always, comes across as you're judging them, don't judge me, and, those kind of attitudes that people tend to take on when you start having to talk about change, and examining yourself and really looking at yourself. And this is something that, being in America, in Babylon, is no promotion of this. Nobody talks about this because everybody is fine the way they are, and it's always somebody else is the problem. So, but because we are now waking up to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, we have to learn to examine ourselves. That's what the scripture is about. That's how we grow. That's how we put away the old man and, become a new person in Christ Yashaya. We have to change. And so, praise Ahayah that, he has given me this platform and that I can address these issues. Now, if this is your first time watching my channel, I talk about a lot of different things, and, mainly about scripture, mainly about coming out of Babylon. That's the main theme to my whole channel, is that understanding that we are the children of Israel and we must come out of Babylon. And, if you speak to a lot of Israelites, they'll say, oh, we don't have to come out of Babylon. We got to come out spiritually. We got to come out, physically. We don't have to come out physically. We got to come out spiritually. And although we have to come out spiritually too, and that's what this is about, you must physically come out of Babylon. And it's sooner than you think. You see, the war in Syria is brewing. World War III is coming upon us. And we know that America is going to be destroyed. And we have to come out of Babylon. Praise Ahayah, there is a safe place. The children of Israel will be in Jordan, in the wilderness, where we were the first time when we came out of Egypt with our forefathers, with Moses. Okay, so we are going to go back into that wilderness, and the scriptures tell us that 2/3 of Israel is going to perish. Okay, because mainly we can't let go of all the bad behaviors and bad, habits that we've picked up in our captivity. That's the whole point. We have to change. And so my videos, Yashaya Speaks, the process of purging, is all about seeing yourself and understand you need to change. Now, I had the opportunity I've been in Jordan for a long time. I've been here for 9 years, going on 9 years this November. And it was like the Most High sent me out, and he sent me out to show me some things. And I believe this is what he has sent me to do. Speak to the children of Israel and prepare them for coming out into this wilderness. Prepare them for getting themselves together. Excuse the prayer, guys. It's kind of loud. Maybe I should wait. Hold on. Okay. So, we're coming from a place that we were allowed to do whatever we wanted to do in the Christian churches. It was like God is a loving God, and he forgives you for our sins. So basically, we were just running amok in Babylon. We was doing whatever we wanted to do, and we felt that because God was such a good and loving God, that he forgive us for anything we did. Basically, there was no real account for what we were doing. So, coming from that place, it's hard. And that type of programming, it's hard to come to people and now say, oh, we need to change, look at yourself, work on yourself, because nobody knows how to do it. Everybody is on this, they're righteous, they're good, and everybody else is bad. And this is what I see on our people. Now, mind you, I'm coming from a place of this. Even before I woke up to the truth, even before I knew anything about leaving Babylon, this is what I was seeing on people. I didn't know we were the children of Israel, but I knew something was wrong. And I used to, I couldn't deal with the people. I didn't know why. Of course, I thought it was me because it couldn't have been everybody else. So I was like, something was wrong, I used to see that in the relationships with people, with men and women, with friends, with family members, with, just everything that I saw. I just saw it just was like, something is wrong, But I couldn't put my finger on it, and now I can. Praise Ahayah for this truth and understanding that we are wretched people, and we were just doing everything against the Most High. So now we can talk about it. Now we can heal. Now we can start to correct ourselves. And people may find this really hard. It's going to be a struggle because we have been programmed. The level of program and witchcraft in America and in Babylon that has been placed upon us is like you can't even see it. It's so thick, So we're going to start, step by step. So here we are, the purging 3, the process of purging 3. So I've asked you to make a list of all the things, the negative things about you that that you can muster up, because we are such in the matrix in Babylon that I'm sure it's hard to write some bad things about yourself, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I just want you to look at you and how you are and the things that you don't like about yourself. And I ask people to make a list. So you should already have a list. Now, if you don't have a list, then you have to watch Purging 1 and Purging 2. So that way you can come up to speed. Okay, so now we also talked about fasting. Fasting, when you're coming out of Babylon, if you're thinking of leaving Babylon, you need to be fasting. And you should fast before you leave, while you're traveling, and when you come out. You should be on a fast. Because this, I've talked about how Babylon is the level of sorcery and witchcraft that they use through the TV, through the music, through everything is a bunch of witchcraft. And we have to now come down and come off of the sorcery. So how we do that is through fasting. We have to learn how to get back to the Most High. We got to start praying. We got to start fasting more. We start, so that we can start to come down off of the sorcery that we've been dealing with. Now, most of us don't feel, and this is the hardest part of this, is because nobody feels that there's anything wrong. So it's hard to try to fix something when you don't feel there's nothing's wrong. Most of the people, that I've come across and I talk to, everybody's righteous. Everybody has a good heart. Everybody's a good person. And everybody knows the Most High, and the Most High is dealing with them. So this is, what I see on our people. So it's really hard to ask people to fix themselves when they don't feel there's nothing to be fixed. But if you start to be real with yourself. You have to be real with yourself and real with this process. In Babylon, we have been dealing with such high level of fakeness. Everything is fake. everything is fake. So it's hard to, you know, have a real conversation with people, really, about what they feeling and what they thinking, because it's just a bunch of fakeness. This is how I feel about the whole situation, and I just have to be honest with you guys. And this is where, we're gonna have to get real, okay? So it's not gonna be, like, I don't mean to offend anybody. This is nothing personal against anybody. This is on a whole, as a nation, as a people. And I know every situation is different, so everybody doesn't have the same, issues, and we all been through things in our lives. Everybody, because we've been under this curse. The curse is what we've been under. So some people have gone through some major, tragic situations in their lives. And I don't want to take away from, being sensitive about these things, but I want to group us together on a whole as a nation. If you look at us on a whole as a nation, it's easier, for me to like talk with you. But I know it's very delicate, intricate situations, individual situations. And I'm not trying to take, what has happened to you in the past lightly. I'm not trying to act like, it wasn't serious and traumatic and dramatic what you've been through. But I want to talk about it on the whole. On the whole, we are coming off some very severe curses. Very severe. Some people have been going through, molestations, being raped, being, abused physically, mentally, emotionally. These kind of things we have to deal with. We have to look at inside and get a grip and get a hold on it. Because most of the times, people who are hurt or who are hurting, they hurt other people. And it's a perpetual, repetitive, situation, from childhood, then you become adult who hurt people, and it just goes on and on, and you hurt people, and then the people who have been hurt, they hurt people, and it's just, it's part of our curses. So this is what I want to talk about. Now, I want to address, I don't know if a lot of you watch this channel of this brother, Tommy Sotomayor, right? And he, if you don't know him, you can Google him or go on YouTube and watch some of his videos. Now, this brother is very aggressive, especially towards women. Like, he talks about women. It's so bad, the things that he put out, but it's so true. You know what I'm saying? Like, the level of the things that our sisters are doing, it's shameful, right? And this brother, he points it out to the point where, people accuse him of not liking black women. He hates black women. I mean, he's just on a tyrant and on a rant about how black sisters are and overall black people. But he tries to touch on black women more so than the black men, in my view. But he do speak out against men too. But he's a perfect example, and the reason why I want to use it, because he's a perfect example of the condition of the black men, and he's pointing out the example of black women. Okay, so I'll add a clip in this video just so you can get an idea, and you can go check out his channel on your own. I'm not promoting the brother, and no, I feel like he is a perfect example of how the state of black men, it's a horrible state, and this is what Babylon has created in the men, and he's a good example for me to prove my point on what we are going through and what we've been conditioned and what we've been reduced to, as a people. So for the men, this is an example. And all throughout his show, all he is doing is pointing out the women and how horrible, and what a bad state the women are in. And I wanted to bring this out, but I'm going to bring it out from a biblical standpoint, because it's really bad. And we have to look at this situation and really come to grips this is what we are reduced to. This is how we treat one another. This is the state that the black people are in, the children of Israel are in these last days. And you can't get mad at this brother for pointing it out, but because it's true, and it's all part of the curses. And then you have to look at the brother, and it's a clear indication of where the men are, in these last days, and how they feel and what they think, how abusive they are, and mean spirited. And this is watch this clip, and then I'll be right back.
Questions I asked you directly. I asked you a direct question. I'll try it again. Where's that huge black channel of these black women, beautiful, talking about themselves being beautiful, where they didn't need anybody else? That's all I'm asking.
I can't point you to a channel.
If you can't point me to the channel, then don't point at mine. Because my channel is small. Compared to them have videos, compared to them twerk video channels, my channel is small.
I don't twerk.
See how you talk? Y'all, you see this? You can't even have a normal conversation with black women. I said you have bigger videos than mine. You either tell me that there's some that's bigger than mine, not I don't twerk. That wasn't the fucking question I said. Like, it's like y'all don't hear. And you think somebody can build with a group of people that's that dumb that they get a question. Well, what's 4? 5 plus 5 is 10. Well, I don't count. What the fuck? The response to that is something about her life every time. Black men aren't dumb enough to do that. Hey, these black men don't take care of their kids. Well, I do. Nigga, I'm not talking about you then. I'm talking about the number of men who don't. There's a lot of men in Atlanta with AIDS. I don't. Nigga, I'm not talking about you. You're generalizing. Motherfucker, it's a lot of niggas with it, though. But I don't. You can't have no conversation with these women. They won't even address what you say when it's a fact. They just move on to something else like you didn't just say it. She hasn't disputed one thing I've said. She haven't addressed one thing I've said. If black women were so...
I don't understand how you...
If black women were so special, why aren't they representing themselves in positive lights? Either answer that or just go. If black women are so special, why aren't they representing themselves in a positive light? That's a simple question.
Well, I don't know why they're not being profiled more, but I can honestly tell you that
Jesus Christ. Do y'all see what she just said? Do y'all hear what she just said? My question was really simple. Listen to what she said. I said, why aren't they representing themselves in a more positive light? Her response was, I don't know why they're not getting profiled more.
I mean, I don't understand how you don't understand that for some reason, a lot of the positive is not being promoted or put out there, just only the negative.
What are you talking about? With YouTube, you can promote yourself.
I just want to live my life and work and do whatever it takes for me to survive. I don't understand why I have to prove. I even talk to you and tell you that you shouldn't generalize African American women.
Wait a minute. If all you wanted to do was get up and work and live your life, you wouldn't call a stranger to prove to him he shouldn't generalize when he's one dude.
Well, because I think you're...
So now that's a clip of a brother who has a big show on YouTube, and basically it's all about black women and how disorientated black women are, how bad they are, and this and that. But he also talks about men sometimes too. But he's a perfect example of how out of order men are. And just like he gives the example of how out of order women are, but it also shows you the spirit on the men. And this is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to go into Deuteronomy 28, and I wanted to talk about the curses, because this is a prime example of the curses, what we are dealing with as the children of Israel, and how we can start to look at, ourselves and correct ourselves. Now let me tell you, the whole point in this is this. We are coming off of the curses. The Most High is commanding us to come out of Babylon. And he's going to deal with us face to face, just like he did our forefathers in the wilderness. Okay? So, you know, the Most High put it on my spirit to speak to the children of Israel. Show them these things. Show them who they are and how we are, you know, we sin against the Most High and try to correct it. And for those of you who are really, really looking to connect back to Ahayah by Hashem Yashaya and get yourselves together and purge and cleanse so that we could be ready for the marriage of Christ, Yashaya, who's coming, you can look at this kind of video and maybe you can see some help in it. And I pray that you can get some help in it on how to cleanse, how to purge yourself so that we can come to the Most High and make it and be eligible to go into his kingdom and not come out here and get destroyed. Now, some of you may not even believe you need to come out of Babylon. You know, that's a whole nother issue, and that's between you and the Most High, because, see, the Most High gives this understanding. He even gives you the understanding to understand you need to purge and cleanse. So this is just me trying to offer some help, because he's let me know, and he give me a little understanding that we do need to change. We do need to purge. We do have to get ourselves together. So that's what this video is about. Okay, so when you go into Deuteronomy, it gives you the curses. In Deuteronomy 28, you can read the blessings that the Most High said he would give to the children of Israel. And then from 15 on down, he gives the curses. And this is how we know we are the children of Israel. We are the people of the book. And these are our laws and our statutes, because we suffered these curses. So now how do we come off these curses? First, we got to learn that we have to get back to the Most High. We got to learn how to keep those laws, statutes, and commandments that's all through the Bible, and learn how to get ourselves together despite what you've gone through in your life. You know, and some have been very traumatic, and I'm not taking away from that. But on the whole, as a people, we've all been through some things. We are filthy rags to the Most High, and now it's time to heal, and it's time to change. Okay, so when you look at Deuteronomy, now I wanted to, on this segment, speak about specific things in Deuteronomy, because in Deuteronomy 28, he said we were going to suffer all of these things, and we did. And so that's why we are so broken, and, you know, we're broken people. But, you know, it's time to come back. But I want to talk about the mean-spiritedness on our people. This is one of the curses that the Most High said we was going to suffer, and I'll show you in the scripture. The mean-spiritedness, people are so mean in their spirit and kind of hateful that it's a horrible spirit. And these are the things that I saw on people. I saw it on the men, you know, the men when I was in Babylon before I woke up to the truth. I used to feel like people are so mean. They're so hateful. And, you know, people will come off nice and they'll, you know, act like they all nice and, you know, everything. But then they will turn around and attack you. And I don't mean to attack you by telling you something about yourself. That's not an attack. I'm talking about they are raven wolves, like the scriptures talk about. And that's part of the curses, to be mean, to be, you know, hateful, malicious, and, you know, those kind of things. And these are sin. It's a sin against the Most High to be malicious and mean. We're not supposed to act like that. But it's part of our curses. So we all have been through these things. There's something in us that, you know, we have to work on. So when you go to Deuteronomy 28 and 34, it says, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. So basically, the Most High is saying, you know, you're going to be, you're angry, right? You're angry. And that's what I see on the sisters, and that's what I see on our brothers. Just angry about every little thing. I mean, even in, you know, the nicest of them all, they'll come around and be just mean and hateful, you know, about, you know, particular things. The men, you know, and I find brothers are a little more, you know, softer in their way in the beginning. But, you know, they will come at you the same way, the same meanness, manipulation. If you don't, do things how they feel it should be done, they're mean. They're mean-spirited, and they will, attack you emotionally. They work on sisters' self-esteem. They do all kind of manipulating things to like trying to break your spirit. And that's not of Christ. So the men, too, have to get themselves together. And so does the women. Everything that Tommy Sotomayor in his videos, and I don't promote this brother at all. I think the brother has a lot of issues that he has to, resolve. But what he's speaking about is the truth. And you can't be mad at him, his main videos is talking about how sisters are and how mean and malicious and how we have reduced to, such a low state, as the children of Israel, basically. But he's just not coming from a biblical point of view, He has his own issues, and this is how he, brings it out, and which is telling on him as well, Okay, so it says in Deuteronomy 28:34, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. So the Most High put a curse on us that we're just going to be mad just looking at ourselves. Just angry of our conditions, angry what we're going through, angry about, your past, angry about these curses that are placed upon you in your captivity. You're just going to be angry. So you got to start working on yourself not to be like that. You got to start working and purging on yourself. Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy 28:54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So this is a curse that the Most High gave. That's why the men are not in the home. That's why the brothers leave their children and abandon them, and all this stuff is a curse that the Most High placed upon the men of the Most High. That's why out of all the other nations, the Hebrew men left their families, left their children. They were evil towards their brothers. That's why they're killing each other in the street. They're evil towards their women. That's why they were abusive and mean and, manipulative and all these things. The scriptures is talking about us as a people. This is what we went through. This is what we're going through. This is what Tommy Sotomayor is talking about. But he's just not putting it in the scriptures. From the scriptures point of view, it's a curse from the Most High. And now, as the children of Israel, as we're coming up off these curses, as we realize who we are, that we are kings and queens of this earth, we have to now get ourselves together. Okay? So let me read that scripture again, just so it can soak in. Deuteronomy 28:54 said, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. So that right there is letting you know, in a nutshell, what the Most High, what will be happening to the children of Israel. The brothers are mean-spirited, hateful towards each other. That's why it's so easy for them to kill each other in the street. Black-on-black crime is rampant in America amongst the black, American Hebrews. And towards their women, they're mean and hateful. And this is something I used to always see when I was in Babylon, and I didn't wake up yet. But I would just be like, the men were so mean. They were mean and hateful. And they'll try to break your spirit being mean. A man will be with you, and that'll be your husband or your man, and he's just mean. And he's just doing little mean things, jabbing at you, not being right. And so these are the things that I saw. And I used to look at other people, I'd be like, well, they seem like they okay in their relationship. I used to look at other couples, and I'd be like, why? The men, they were so abusive, emotionally, physically, mentally, just trying to break your spirit. And so brothers, y'all have to hear this, and we have to now learn how to heal. Brothers, you can't be treating our sisters like that. You have to do right by women. I'm sure that behavior is not going to be in the kingdom. And if you don't know that you're abusive, if you don't know that this is how you are, you're mean-spirited, you need to go to the scripture and really meditate on it, because this is a curse that the Most High put on the men of the Most High. So it is you. You are doing these things, and you must work on yourself. Even the brother Tommy Sotomayor, he's mean. He's mean. He's mean-spirited. Everything is hateful. It's hateful. But what he's saying is true. But that don't make it right. So black men have to get themselves together. And I know it's hard coming from a sister, because they don't want to hear anything from us. They don't want to hear about themselves, and especially from a sister. But brothers, they're not gonna check each other. If there's like this unspoken thing between men, I guess because they don't want to have to fight. So, they don't want to say nothing to this brother. They'd rather not say anything. But they definitely don't want to hear it from a sister. But somebody got to say it. It has to come out that, brothers, you are mean. You're mean-spirited. It's hateful how you deal with these sisters. It's not nice, and it's not going to be in the kingdom. As much as you think you're a king and you're the children of Israel and you're 144,000, if you're dealing with this kind of stuff where you're just mean and hateful towards sisters and your family and your other brothers, just doing mean stuff, which the scripture said is right there. He evil towards his brother, evil towards the woman, the wife of his bosom, and evil towards the children, his children, which he will leave. Now, I know a lot of brothers are trying to come back and do right. And I know that they're trying to take care of their kids now and uphold their family. And that's part of them getting themselves together. But they got to know that they can't be mean and hateful and malicious and manipulative to women. Period. On the whole, you can't do it. And it has to stop. Now, I know this is going to be a hard thing to receive, but we have to start looking at it. It's in the scriptures, and it's part of the curses, and you have to own up to it, and you're going to have to deal with that. Brothers, I don't know why the Most High sent out a woman the way he did, and he, sent me out, and I'm here in Jordan, and, for those who watch my channel, y'all know, what it is. But I find even among the Israelite men who are waking up to the truth, a lot of these brothers, they trying, I hope, I think, but they are very mean and malicious. Very mean. And I would understand why the Most High would use a woman on some level. It had to be somebody, because brothers need to be able to be tested in their way and how they do things and how the choices they make it and the decisions that they make it. So the Most High needs to have women in certain positions to base the character of these men. So praise Ahayah. I'm glad to be able to speak to the children of Israel and talk to the men of the Most High and let them know that they have to correct this thing. They have to correct how they are with their sisters and how they feel about women. A lot of brothers, because they were raised by women in a single home, their mothers raised them the best way they knew how, but sometimes it wasn't good. They let men come in and, they sleeping with men, and the children are affected by the situation. And sometimes a lot of these young boys grew up to really dislike women, have a despise for women, have a disdain for women. You have to correct that. You have to dig deep down in yourself and work on that and cleanse that spirit out of you, because it's not a righteous thing. It's a demonic spirit. And if you're holding on to those kind of things and those issues, this video is for you, because nobody is really talking about this. How hateful and how mean and some of these men are. And because if they grew up a certain way in their childhood, they don't even know how to ease, you know, that pain, how to get a hold of that, the anger, how to heal from that. Any kind of abuse that you may have gone through as a child, things that you may have seen as a child that children shouldn't have seen, that have, you know, tainted your view and hardened your heart. You understand? You have to work on that, brothers. You got to be praying. You got to go to the Most High in sackcloth and mourning and plead with him to take these things out of you and get these spirits up off of you. Because you're not going to be in the kingdom. I pray. You know, these are the things that I pray for. Like, Most High, you know, your kingdom is a righteous kingdom. We can't be dealing with that. You know, maliciousness from these men, from these brothers, abusive behavior, even verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, and most of all, physical abuse. You know, somebody who emotionally abuses you is worse, is just as bad as them physically beating you up. Somebody who, you know, who just, you know, weighs on your spirit and, you know, chip at you, and, you know, it's the same as physical abuse, but it's more hurtful because, you know, a punch can heal. But when somebody's stabbing you emotionally or stabbing you mentally, you know, how do that scar takes longer to heal. So women who are abused or have been abused, you know, they have issues. And it's usually, you know, long-lasting issues. Just like a child who has been in an abusive home grows up to be abused and an abuser, you know, it's just a cycle that needs to stop. It has to stop. So I wanted to really, you know, talk about this because no one's talking about it. Our brothers got to get a hold of their disdain for women. The scriptures said that he's going to have this. They have it for each other, for your own brother, and you're going to have it for the wife of your bosom, your children. It's a evil eye towards, you know, people. And so, brothers, you're going to have to get a hold of that. You're going to be fasting and praying. You're going to go to the Most High, and you're going to humble yourself, and you're going to ask him and plead for him to take that spirit off of you. Because this is part of the curses. And don't try to act like, you know, you're not dealing with it, because it's part of the curses. So I want to really, really bring that out for brothers and bring it home, and so that you guys can really understand that you got to work on yourselves. You know, as a sister coming up in this truth, you know, I see it on brothers. I know, first of all, I knew it from when I was dealing in Babylon from before. You know, being in the music industry, you know, dealing with brothers the rappers and this and that. I used to see all this stuff on them. But, you know, I didn't know what it was. But now that I'm in the truth and the Most High has dealt with me a certain way, and I'm, you know, out and I'm receiving people who come from Babylon. I talk to a lot of people, and I see the maliciousness on our people, on the brothers. They have an issue with the Most High even dealing with a woman. And it's a deep, deep, hateful issue. And I'm sure, praise Ahayah, that won't be coming into the kingdom. So I just want to bring it out so that brothers can start to work on that, because it's going to be an issue. You know, the Most High didn't use a woman for nothing. You know, we are useful in this kingdom, praise Ahayah. And it's, you know, it may go far above what, you know, the average brother may think a woman should do. You know, so it's important that you get a hold of that, because you don't want that to be your downfall with the Most High. You know, he has a love for the daughters of Zion. Even though we have, you know, in our terrible state, Ahayah loves the daughters of Zion. So regardless of what the disdain that a lot of men have towards, you know, these Hebrew Israelite sisters, to so much so that they go to other nations. They marry these other nations just to spite the daughters of Zion, because they don't have no good in their heart for the daughters of Zion. Hebrew sisters, brothers have a sustained a disdain, excuse me, for black women. And it comes across because that's why they have to marry women of the other nations. They can't even deal with the daughters of Zion. They don't, they have an evil eye. They, like the scripture said in 28:34, so that shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. They look upon women, the daughters of Zion, the Hebrew sisters, the Israelites, and they don't even like them. They don't like them because it represents everything that they went through in their past. If their mother was a single mom, which most of them were, trying to, raise boys in the home, some of these sisters were abusive. They were mean-spirited. They were mean. So they treating the children mean. So it's just been a vicious cycle that we have to break. You understand? We have to break this thing. Now, I'm going to talk about the sisters, too. In Deuteronomy 28:56, it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her feet upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, toward her son, and toward her daughter. 57, and toward her young one that cometh out between her legs, and towards her children which she bare. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. So that's talking about the sisters and how she would be towards her husband, towards her children, and just on a whole. Our sisters can be just downright vicious from what I see. They're just mean. They're hateful. They're malicious. I mean, and oof. And I deal with a lot of our sisters, and I've been dealing with them for a long time because I was dealing, like I've said in many of my videos, when I didn't know the truth, but I always had this thing with sisters. They hated me, and I didn't understand why. And I still go through it with Hebrew Israelite sisters. It's a bunch of jealousy. They're mean. They're hateful. They're not nice. And I have to tell you, I have to be honest with you. And I know it's due to these curses. Because at first I didn't understand why women can't get along with other women. Why is there so much jealousy? Why is there so much, mean and maliciousness? We know now that it's part of the curses. It's part of the curses. But we have to heal. Because just like for the brothers and sisters, it ain't coming in the kingdom. That spirit, you got to get that mean, hateful spirit up off you. You're going to have to fast. You're going to have to pray. You're going to really have to dig down deep and get to the bottom and the root of what brings you to this, point. And everybody, we all want to accuse, abuse. We've went through some heavy things through these curses. It's the Most High cursed us. But we're going to have to cleanse ourselves. Because when we come out and you get into this wilderness, the Most High is going to judge according to your works, according to how you are. So we can't be all mean and hateful and malicious and doing mean things to people and saying mean things to people, nice, nasty, fake and phony and trying to act like you this and you that when you ain't this at all. It's going to have to stop. It's going to have to stop, our people. We're going to have to come clean. We know, listen, the Most High knows you're downtrodden and you're the brokenhearted. But because you're brokenhearted, that don't make it right for you to be mean and malicious and hateful. It has to stop. We have to come together. We're going to have to learn how to help one another. We're going to have to learn how to help one another, learn how to build together, and put this thing together so that we can make it in this wilderness. We're going to have to learn how to do it. What I find is that nobody wants to help anybody. They'll they'll help for some time, but it ain't going to last too long. People just, they're nice for a time and then they just change. And we're going to have to learn to be nice all the time. We're going to learn how to be righteous all the time. not when it's, convenient, and not when, you having a good day. And then when you having a bad day, everything, all that righteousness go out the window. And this is for men and for women. People just going to have to chip away at all the negative attributes they have in their lives. You make a list and you start to work on that list, and you fast about every little thing, and you go to the Most High in prayer about everything, and you ask him to remove these things from you one by one. So now that I've told you, how we are and how you are and what to look for in yourself, because the scripture says these are the curses. So you can't try to act like, oh, I ain't like that, I ain't just that. These are the curses, okay? So this is how we are as a people. So we have to start to work on this. So now how do you do it? Let's talk about that. Well, I think first, let me deal with the sisters first. I think sisters, because what I find with sisters is because they had to take on so much in Babylon, we now have to learn how to pass the reins to the men. Now, it's kind of hard right now because our men, they still ain't ready to take it. They, it looks good and everything, and we're so happy, brothers, that you're stepping up and you're trying to do right, and you're learning to, who you are, and you're taking over. We understand it. But to be honest, I'm sure with most sisters watching and, we're looking at our Hebrew Israelite brothers, we see that, they ain't got it together. And we still trying to, just sit back and let the men handle everything. But in that, sisters, you see that not a lot is getting done the way you would probably feel. But it ain't about you, sisters, and this is what we have to learn. So I would suggest that sisters learn how to be quiet, be still, stop talking so much. I would suggest you go on a no talking fast, and learn to stop talking so much. What I find with sisters that I've meet and I come across, they talk entirely too much. And I know this is going to be hard to do, to fast and just stop talking. And I don't mean, okay, if you fast and on a no talking fast, where you just stop talking. And I don't mean you start writing a book because you want to write everything down on paper, and now you want to write a book about what you need to say. No, I mean totally stop talking. Don't write nothing down. Close your mouth and just stop and be still. And do that for a time. First, it may be hard for you from what I see, because most of the sisters I'm running across, they talk a lot. And this is not anybody directly. I'm talking about on a whole. Sisters talk entirely too much. And I just be like, oh my goodness. I can imagine any brother, their husbands or whoever they dealing with, what they must be thinking. Sisters talk entirely too much. And it has to stop. So first, I would say, go on a no talking fast. And I don't mean writing either. Nothing. Don't say nothing. Learn to just, okay? Now, maybe try one day and do that weekly. Weekly no talking fast. First do it once a week, then twice a week. And just stop talking. And learn how to be still. And don't write nothing down about what you feel over there. Just stop and read the scriptures. That's what I would say for sisters, to start the process. I mean, evil, malicious thinking, hatefulness, and all that stuff, you have to nip away at that stuff. That should be on your list. If you can cut somebody down with your tongue, and you can talk a good one, and you can come back really quick, those should be on your list. And that's how you should start chipping away at the things on your negative list, the things about you. That list you should start chipping away at. Every time you find yourself making an offense, you should fast. And if you need to just start out in a fast, just start out in a fast. Start praying to the Most High and start asking Him to heal you in these things with these attributes. Now, the no talking fast should be separate. Or if you can fast while you're doing the no talking fast, that's good too. But no talking, sisters. Let's minimize the talking about what we think and what we feel. Bring it down to a minimum. Because what I find when I meet most of our sisters, everybody's spiritual. Everybody, the Most High is working with them. Everybody's a prophetess. Everybody is this and everybody is that. Sisters, just stop talking. And just stop. And meditate on the Most High. And meditate on the Word. And we're going to learn how to be modest women. We're going to learn how to be quiet and meek women. And it's not a lot of that, and it's not enough of that. So, you know, and I don't mean to say this like even in a mean way, sisters. I love my sisters. I love the daughters of Zion. Praise Ahayah for the daughters of Zion. You know, there's a lot of good in you guys. And, you know, the Most High loves the daughters of Zion. So I don't mean to, you know, sound so, you know, any kind of way, but like a mother, you know, or your older sister, or just trying to help you and guide you so that we can get to this place. Okay? So daughters of Zion, sisters, Hebrew sisters, we need to learn how to stop talking so much. And, you know, for the meek and humble sisters who don't talk, good for you. Praise Ahayah for you. Because we need more of that. And learning how to help others and give unconditionally without griping about it, without complaining about it, without anything, you know. We have to learn how to do that. And we have to learn how to nurture and, you know, be kind. But that's another video. First, we're going to work on this. We're going to stop talking so much. We're going to do weekly no talking fast. Okay? And if you want to, you know, send me a message and, you know, we can talk about it, you know, how we're going to go into this and, you know, how to do it, you know, when you may have to work or you have to do certain things. But that's for the sisters. Now, for the brothers, it's basically the same thing. You know, fasting is it has to be the key. You have to write down the negative attributes about you and chip away at it. Being mean and malicious, that's a horrible spirit, brothers. You know, emotionally, beating up on people, abusive behavior, that's not coming into the kingdom. And I know that we're not going to have to deal with that on the brothers in the kingdom. You know, a lot of brothers, I talk to very nice brothers, you know, and at first, and they start out really nice, but then there's a manipulation. There's then this subtle little, you know, a little saying little things, attacking you, you know, being mean if they don't like the way, you know, things are being done. You know, and yeah, you have to work on that. So brothers need to be going on some major fasts. Brothers need to get back to the Most High. A lot of brothers just don't even have faith. They don't have faith to walk out of Babylon and do what they have to do. They come out here, they all into everything else. Mainly fornication or trying to run after, you know, some woman, or it's always something like that. They're not even focusing on the Most High. I have to be real with the brothers, with y'all brothers. Y'all got to get yourselves together. Because you can't get mad at sisters if you can't get yourself together. Now, you know, so that's on the whole has to take a whole lot of fasting to come down and to start learning how to depend on the Most High. You are the heads, brother. You have to have a relationship with the Most High. It shouldn't be that your wife or your woman have a better relationship with the Most High than you. You have to get yourselves together. So we're going to keep chipping away at this. Y'all could give me some feedback, on how you feel about it. I know, most people ain't going to like it, but it's the truth. And, as bad as that brother Tommy Sotomayor is in his situation, he's a prime example of how malicious men are, and how the hate that he has for women is how the reflection of our brothers. Even if it's hidden, if it's not as outward as hidden, that he is a prime example of how the men are. And he's definitely pointing out the majority of the women, how wicked and what's going on with these sisters. He's bringing it out, and it's true. So we have a whole lot to work on, a whole lot as a people, getting ourselves together, coming down off the sorcery, off the wickedness that we've been dealing with, the pain and the hurt from these curses. There's a lot of work to be done. A lot of work. People are dealing with so much in their lives, so much in their psyche, how they're rationalizing and coming to certain conclusions. The thinking is off. The judgment is off. People, we have a lot of work to do as the children of Israel. So I'm praying for you. I'm praying that you can receive what I'm talking about, that own up and be honest with yourselves. No more fakeness, no more faking it. Be real with yourself. Be real with the Most High. Come clean. We have a lot of stuff we have to deal with. And it's going to be very hard for us to come into a wilderness with all the pain and heartache and the things that we've gone through and be a people and a nation. How can we nation build when people can't even be honest with themselves about who they are and what they are and how to get better? We have to work on ourselves. You got to face reality. You got to come back to the Most High. You got to learn how to trust the Most High and really have faith. Not just talking about it. Not just reading the scriptures. Apply it to your life. We have to cut it out, y'all. It has to get better. So I hope, you hear me. I pray you could take heed. I pray you receive it in love, that I ain't trying to point fingers at nobody in specific. I'm not trying to judge anybody in, specific. You should judge you. You should judge you. Look at yourselves. Make your list. Start working on it. Start chipping away. Start fasting as much as possible. Sisters, no talking. Learn how to be still. So we're going to start fasting just once a week on a no talking fast. And brothers, y'all got to connect back to the Most High. So until the next one, the Purge 4 video, and we're going to talk, get more deeper. We're going to get deeper into this thing because we got to start looking at ourselves. I give all glory and praise to Ahayah, Ahayah Bahashim Yashaya, and I pray you can receive this with love. And I'm going to say shalom. Babu babu day, babu